So let's start with a word or phrase to describe Donald Trump.
He's decisive. He knows what he wants, what he doesn't want, and what the country needs.
Anti-establishment, real change.
He relates to the people.
Everything he said, he's done.
He seems to tell it like it is, and he's not beholden to the special interests.
He's bold and truthful.
He's been building a very successful brand for the last...
All right, everyone, this is Bristol Howerton. I'm going to be interviewing Theodore Smith on how Trump is unstoppable. So, this has been a crazy election cycle this year, this 2016. Who are you going to be voting for?
Oh, absolutely, without hesitation, Donald Trump.
All right, explain why.
Trump is, out of all the candidates running for president, is the only one with such a distinguished record behind himself in all sorts of areas. The thing that really decided it for me was during one of the early presidential debates when he said, "Look around me, look around this room. I am the only person on this stage that has written a book." And I've written many books, he said, showing people how to get wealthy and have better lives. And when I realized that that's the type of guy that I would want to vote for.
All right, that makes sense. Trump keeps getting attacked and ridiculed by the press. Why do you think his numbers have not been reduced?
I have a theory that Trump is what I call the anti-politician. By what I mean by that is that every single thing that normal politicians do, Trump really hasn't done. Like, for instance, normal politicians rely on campaign money primarily to pay for really expensive television ads. The very remarkable thing about this election is that Trump has not paid for a single advertisement anywhere. And so every single bit of his publicity has been free. And that's just scratching the surface. The other thing is that every single politician relies on donations. Trump is the only candidate in modern history that self-funded himself since the mid-1990s. The other thing is that on the other side of the coin, politicians tend to do this dance. In Donald Trump's words, they're trying to be politically correct. Donald Trump is very bravado, and he really just says that, I speak my mind. We have so many issues at stake. We need to get down at brass tacks and not worry so much about what we say. And so because he says this, every single way that the establishment and his enemies have gone against him has backfired. It doesn't just not drop his numbers. He actually gains supporters every single time someone attacks him.
Yeah, it's crazy, I know. When we were speaking earlier, we were talking about how accomplished Trump is and his past successes with business and stuff, and we can see how that would help his poll numbers. That's what you were telling me before this interview. Why did you say that?
Well, the reason is that so many different types of Americans want a successful business person to be president at this moment. And they're not who you would think. You would think that traditional Republicans would want a professional businessman because they are traditionally businessmen themselves, but that hasn't been the case. Instead, what you see that traditional Republicans dislike him the most, and instead, like African Americans, Hispanics, high school students in particular are flocking towards Trump. The reason is that the high school students, the African Americans, and Hispanics have one overwhelming vision that they have caught directly from Trump, and that is that he will stop the unfair practices that are affecting them, primarily unfair trade deals and unfair measures, unfair decisions that the federal government has been taking for the last 50 years now that directly affect these people, primarily in the form of immigration. So many of these decisions directly affect blacks and legal Mexican immigrants because the Mexican immigrants on average wait about 10 years in order to legally enter this country, whereas other immigrants from other countries only have to wait a year or two. The reason is that so many Mexicans have entered illegally that they've created these huge artificial lines for people who want to do the right thing. On the African American side of things, the African Americans are the most displaced group by illegal immigrants, as the illegal immigrants work for cash and they work cheap, and that just throws out every single black youth and other African Americans and really keeps jobs away from them. They know it, and that is why a whole number of the black leaders are encouraging their people to go for Trump.
Yes. All right, so now that we're talking about race, let's talk about demographics for a second. What makes Trump so special that he is bringing these different demographics together in his campaign? Because you would think on his past comments that these people would not be voting for him, right?
Yeah, in fact, that's the way that the traditional media and every single person that's afraid of Donald Trump winning, that has any influence in our society, has been attacking him. Trump is the only politician in modern times to give 100% ad-lib speeches, much like what we're doing now, where he doesn't have a written speech prepared. He just speaks from the heart. And because of that, sometimes he makes mistakes in his speech, like anyone would do. The media has been running with each and every mistake, even taking them grossly out of context. However, each person that should be offended if the media's statements were 100% accurate, a lot of their leaders actually go back, listen to the full context of the speeches, and they realize, well, wait, Trump wasn't saying that all illegal immigrants were rapists. He just said that there are a lot of rapists that come across, and statistically he's been proven true, because there are studies that was released in 2010 found that over 80% of all the illegal alien women are raped between the time they leave Mexico and enter the United States. And so that was what Trump was referencing when he was making that speech. So anyway, going further on it, he has support unlike any other candidate, because they see him as a type of alpha male, a new type of politician. For the last 30-40 years, there's been a feminization of the politicians. They watch what they say. They have to pander to every single discrete group. Oh, we can't offend them. Oh, we must keep our voice down. Oh, let's just make sure we support everybody, try to be everything to everybody.
Right.
Trump is saying no. He says directly that no, he doesn't have time to do this, and he's just going to get stuff done, fix the country, and then we can address some of the more nuanced issues. And this strong message is really resonating, especially with African Americans. I heard an African American on YouTube, for instance, say they would much rather go for Trump because he seems honest and is a go-getter, and that's what we need right now.
Absolutely. All right. Now that we're talking about the Republican Party, over the past couple of weeks, he has been attacked more by the Republican Party leadership themselves than by any other group they're supposed to be allied against. Why are they attacking their frontrunner, you think?
Well, it's a very interesting question. Never in modern politics have we had it where the decisively winning frontrunner has been attacked by their own political party. I mean, Hillary Clinton obviously has grave legal issues that may actually force her to drop out of the race, because she might actually have to go to court for various reasons. But you don't see the Democrats removing support for her. And at the same vein, Donald Trump is obviously bringing far more people to the Republican Party than literally anyone else on that table. So why are they attacking him? The only reason is that Trump is the anti-politician. He can't be bought, he can't be controlled, and they have no idea how to bring him down. They have tried everything to bring him down, including, as of just in the last week or two, saying that they may not even honor the democratic principles of this nation, and even if Trump wins the primaries, they may just say, nope, he's not going to be on our ticket, and pick someone else. The only reason is that they're totally afraid of him. The minorities and the other disaffected people who are Trump supporters, and even those that aren't, see this, and they go, wait a minute, we've been against Republicans our entire lives, and now all of a sudden we see it, they're attacking Trump. I'm going to listen to Trump. And then this also furthers his momentum. And that scares the Republicans more than anything. They do not want change, and they're afraid that Trump will bring it.
All right, so as of the latest news, Trump has announced that he will not be participating in the Fox News Republican. Oh, let me start that one over. Okay. So, in the latest news, Trump has announced that he will not be participating in the Fox Republican debate tonight. This is the first time in 36 years a major candidate has not participated in one. Why do you think this is a mastermind move of his, Ted?
Well, as we addressed earlier, the last time this has happened was 36 years ago in 1980 when Ronald Reagan chose not to do it. The media has been spinning this as if it's like some childish reaction, like maybe he's afraid of Megyn Kelly. But in reality, I think it has nothing to do with Megyn Kelly. Trump has even been saying that it has nothing to do with Megyn Kelly. I think that it's a calculated move by Trump in order to show that he is not just in control, but that he has controlled the entire election cycle. What I mean by that is on the third debate, Trump pointed out that the statistics for Republican debate viewership were way off the charts. Historically, only about 5 million people have watched the debates at any given time. We're talking like the first debates, certainly not the fifth or sixth. The first Republican debate had over 26 million people watching. That's over 5 times historical norms since the television existed. Whenever you watch a hit show, they always bring out demographic reports about, like, they say, like, men between the ages of 18 and 30, and they break it down real specific. And in past political debates, they'd break it down even more specific, like number of Republicans that watched, number of independents that watched, etc. They've never reported that the demographics for the 2015 and 2016 debates. One very likely reason is that they are afraid that if they publish that a large number of African Americans have been watching the Trump debates, that it will totally galvanize the race for Trump, because like it could just create a landslide. Trump addressed this himself on one of the early debates. He said, "Look at these numbers. Every single one of these people that are watching this debate aren't here for Jeb Bush. They're not here for Mark Rubio. They're here for me." And he said that with such bravado, and he's continued to say it. No one has critiqued him on that. None of the people on the debates, when they could have said, "Oh no, they're watching me," none of them opened their mouths, because they probably have secret demographic reports that prove what my contentions are. Now, what this means in the bigger picture is that if myself and Donald Trump himself are right, and there is a substantial decrease in viewership tonight, then this will prove Trump's assertions. So by dropping out now, while he has a valid claim to by Fox, because Fox News said some very disparaging stuff about him 2 days ago, that will prove to his base that he is firm, that he doesn't need Fox News, the leading Republican source of support for candidates until this debate. He doesn't need Fox. He doesn't need the media. He cannot be stopped. Just, you better vote for him or get left in the dust.
Absolutely. All right, Ted. So do you think Trump has a lack, for a better word, a trump card for winning this election?
Yes, I think that Donald Trump's trump card is what we're discussing, is that everyone's been viewing elections, including this election, as a tight race. And historically, in our lifetimes, the elections have always been tight. I mean, we're talking like 51% one way, 49% another. The biggest spread was Clinton's second term when he won by like 55%.
Right.
Historically, they're wire-thin margins. What I think will happen, and it will be almost a certainty if the debate numbers are low tonight, I think what will happen is that so many non-Republican voters, so many people that may have never voted in their lifetimes or in the last 10 years may support Trump. And if that happens, we're not talking about 50% margins. We're talking like he could get 66%, 70%, maybe even 75% of the vote, like what happened with the last politician that broke out of the mold. See, this breaking out of the mold thing is very new for the last 40 years, but it does have a historical precedent, and that was with Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt himself was an anti-politician. He had no formal education, and he went out there and just took the entire race with double-digit leads, just like I anticipate Trump will. And so that's what I think Trump's trump card is.
There you go. So what steps do you think Trump could take tomorrow after the debate to really turn this election to his favor, even more so?
Depending on if the viewership goes down, which I am almost certain it will, what Trump could literally say and what he will do, because he's a smart guy. Trump will go out and say, "Look, I definitely commend these extra million voters. These are people that probably have never voted Republican in their life, and they're still not voting Republican. They are voting for Trump. That's what Donald Trump should say tomorrow morning. What he then will say is that what he should and will say is that we need to stop fighting. What we need to do is all get behind Trump and just try to encourage all these demographics that Trump has managed to agree to come on board. Why settle for 51%? Why aim for 51%? If we unite as a party, as a Republican Party under Trump, set aside our relatively minor differences, set aside the fear that Trump isn't controllable, set aside the fear that Trump may not be in the interests of the moneyed powered, and just really support Trump, we can transform the Republican Party. Instead of the Republican Party dying, like they said after the last presidential election when Mitt Romney lost so badly, instead of the Republican Party dying, Trump could bring revolutionary new blood into it. I mean, Trump literally is, for all intents and purposes, a great unifier. He's seemingly, black leaders have said that he's done more to unite the races in just 9 months of campaigning than basically anyone since John F. Kennedy and the Civil Rights Movement. And so I think that that's literally what he should do. Is let's just change the narrative. Let the Republicans stop fighting Trump, get behind him, and let's bring more and more people that we never would have accepted, that only really Trump is accepting, and bring them into our circle and make the nation great again.
Man, strong facts, strong opinions said by Theodore Smith. This has been Bristol Howerton interviewing him about the unstoppable Trump. Thank you for watching, guys. All right, is there any other questions that you think that
No, I thought that was great.
I thought it was good too.
I thought it was awesome, yeah.
Let's go edit it.